Yeah.
What separates the disciplined trader from the dopamine trader?
So a disciplined trader is gonna, be more stoic. Is gonna be more calm and collected. There's been times where, shoot, you can go back and watch Thursday's live stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know it. I'm just like, okay, like I'm in the Tesla puts. I'm scaling out $100 a con, $200 a con, $400 a con down to one runner. Okay, I stopped out on the runner for 250, whatever, right? That's a typical day is charts at 8:30 in the morning, start the stream up, start reviewing price action levels, get things ready for the day. And then, I squeeze in my workouts where I can. And, sometimes, I go to the gym, I'm trying to go to the gym about 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes it might be, all right, I went 2 days in a row, I went 3 days in a row, and then I can't go for 2 or 3 days. And it's like, I'll be fine. I stay active. I try to stay on my feet. If I'm at work, I'm getting a lot of steps in, or I try to. So, just try to do what I can because I'm juggling a lot, and I understand that I'm juggling a lot.
This is NOFOMO, where we cut through the noise, the hype, and the fake profits. I'm your host, Woodz, and today we're tapping in with the trader who has built his edge the same way he built his body, through discipline, consistency, and mental toughness. Flexing Joe joins us to break down the real game behind trading. Not just strategies, but mindset. We're talking scalping, avoiding FOMO, controlling your ego, and why most traders fail before they ever get consistent. If you've ever struggled with patience, if you've ever forced your trades, or if you're serious about leveling up, this episode is for you. Let's get into it.
Yo, what is happening, traders? We are back with another episode of NOFOMO, the podcast, man. And today, we got a special guest I've been trying to hook up with for a minute, man. My boy, Flexing Joe. What's happening, Flexing Joe?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm glad we can finally link up. I feel like we've been talking for a long time. This has been a long time coming, so it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Man, feeling good, man, on this wonderful morning, man. I just wanted to chop it up, man, get to know you, man. I see what you guys are doing over there at Coast to Coast, bringing the trader news through on a regular, man. So, hey, I'm loving it, man. So, Joe,
thank you.
Tell me what's harder, staying in the gym or staying disciplined in the markets, man? Because Flexing Joe, tell me about it.
Shoot, dude, it's got to be staying disciplined in the markets. Like for me, man, I love going to the gym. I've been in the gym for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's like just a part of who I am. I like to go to the gym and just, I don't want to say it's like therapeutic, but I just feel good. Like I like to feel good physically. So when I feel good physically, I think it trickles over and it has a good, mental, positive effect on my mental game. Whereas like in the market, I sometimes, it's hard to be, patient, wait for your setups, be disciplined, cut the loser when you're supposed to, not jump out of the winner too quick, all those things that can be hard. It really takes a lot of practice to instill those disciplines. But, it's a lot like getting on a good diet and a good workout routine. Like once you really start getting those repetitions in and, you start stacking the days, it gets easier. But for me, it's easier to just keep going to the gym.
Yeah. So like, tell us about yourself. Give us a brief description about yourself, because I know I met you, through mutual trading buddies, through mutual trade groups, and we utilize one of the good prop firms, TFD. And I see, man, you always come with motivation. Trying to keep traders on the right path, and it's not like a flashy look to how you present yourself, man. Your whole thing is an average Joe, but I may flex sometimes.
That's right.
And I like it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so a little bit about me. Obviously, like I've been a gym guy for a long time, did some bodybuilding and stuff. I really enjoy that. I'm passionate about it, but I realized pretty quickly, I'm pretty tall and I wasn't going to have a competitive bodybuilding career without doing a lot of things and devoting my whole life to chasing something that may never happen, So I keep the gym fun and for me, and I like to stay in shape, and that's good enough. I don't need to do any more bodybuilding competitions. And then as far as trading goes, I actually got into trading when the meme stocks started. My brother was kind of trading a little bit. He had, I think he had a Robinhood account, or maybe it was Webull. I can't remember what he had, but I remember signing up on Webull. I remember throwing some money in. I remember buying a lot of AMC, and I was actually in AMC like around $9 a share before it had that crazy run up to like the 70s.
Wow.
And I remember like just being like, yeah, like, and just adding a little more, adding a little more, adding a little more, and just keep going with it. And then I remember one day, like the day it like hit that all time high. I know this is
Mhm.
like crazy to say, but the day it hit that all time high, it hit that like crazy peak in pre market. I remember looking at my phone and my balance and being like, this is a lot. Like this has
Yeah.
come a long way. And I remember thinking, I don't know anything about the stock market, but I don't think this is going to go like GME is because there's so many more shares that exist. Like that's all, like everybody was talking about this massive mother of all squeezes and it's going to go whatever. And I was like, damn, but there's so many more shares at AMC. The math doesn't check out.
Right.
So I trimmed like the majority of my position off that morning because I was like, hey, you know what? This is it. Right. And it was
Right.
all shares, no options. And then, so then I traded it one more time, like when it went down, I bought some more. It popped back up for like $5 or something, trimmed a little, like kind of played it a few times, but nothing crazy. And then I was like kind of bitten by the bug. So I tried to get into it. Then I tried playing small caps, taking different trades, this and that. And wouldn't you know, I lost all of it, bro. like,
Man.
so like I was up fat. I remember being like up fat and then just like slowly losing it, slowly losing it,
Yep.
slowly
Yep.
losing it. And then as time went on, I joined another Discord and, really got to learn trading in there. That Discord is the House of Stacks, by the one and only Maple Stacks. And I tell people that I learned, a lot about trading. I learned how to trade from Maple. Well, Maple will be the first to tell you, like, no, Joe, you put the work in, you did it on your own. And like the more I think about that, like the more I agree with him, right? Like I learned price action and stuff from him, but I don't trade like him. I trade like me. I take my setups, I like to, I like to play like break and retest plays. I have this strategy around when the market gaps. So like if the market creates a significant gap, I watch for it to retest and play off of that gap, whether it's going to fill the gap or, and then I actually will watch for it to fill the gap over the coming days to see how it reacts.
Mm.
And, I've been studying that since, well, I joined his room in like March of 22. I started looking at that in like June of 22. So I'm coming up on almost
Mm.
4 years of honing in that strategy and just watching it
Right.
and perfecting it.
Right.
And then as time went on, I migrated from trading options with him to then trading prop. I was trading prop before he got into prop. Now he's into it too, which is great. And I traded prop. I traded, obviously Apex. A whole bunch of different companies.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the rest is history, dude. Like, sorry, that was kind of long winded, but now I mostly trade prop and options.
Right. That's live, man. Cause like with that type of run, man, you have to have a certain type of mental capacity to be able to stick with it and
Yeah.
and roll with it. With that being said, do you feel like traders are mentally soft?
I don't think that it's that traders are mentally soft. I think that most of it is just that we're mentally soft as a culture now because,
Mm.
especially in America,
Mhm.
everything, mostly everything is instant gratification, right? Like
Mhm.
if you look at it when people go to the gym, they're in the gym a week, they go to like GNC, they start looking at supplements, like what's going to get me results faster? And it's
Mm.
like, well, if I could go back in time, the number one thing I would tell myself is stick to the same exact workout routine, the same push pull legs routine, and
Mhm.
stick to that for 5 years. And let's see where you're at in 5 years because you can make tremendous progress off the simplest stuff.
Mm.
And, as Americans, that's just not our culture, right? And with
Right.
trading, a lot of people overcomplicate it. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to chase the next indicator, the next guru to follow, the
Yep.
next call out. It's no different than being in the gym where you're chasing the next supplement, the next workout routine, the next diet program, or worse, you start doing PEDs, things you shouldn't be doing and risking your health to just try to affect how you look, right? So, yeah, I think overall we are just not mentally conditioned anymore to be tough and to be patient and to understand that good things come to those who wait and that, like Rome wasn't built in a day. It really takes time in the gym to build a solid foundation of a physique that you can be proud of. And in the market, it takes a long time to understand how the market moves, how it breathes, and to build a solid portfolio.
Mm. So like what do you feel like was your lowest point in trading?
I would probably say my lowest point was probably coming out of this past summer of 25, man. So, I was trading, I was doing pretty well. And
Mhm,
then July hit, and July was a red month. And
mhm,
then I think June was like break even, first of all. And then July hit and it was red. And I think it just happened to be that the volatility died down and I didn't react and plan accordingly. So
mm,
then so then I really hit a low point like come I think like the end of August, I was red again. And
mhm,
then, well, I know I was red in July. I know I was red in August. And then September, I was red by like $1,000, right? And I was just like, my God, like that's it. If I can't turn this around by the end of the year, that's it. Like I'm not day trading anymore. That's it. Like I'll swing trade, I'll do something different. But if I can't get this by the end of the year, then that's that. And then wouldn't you know, October, I have a great month. I wash away the losses from July, August, September. Great. And then some. November, I have a good month, very good month. I think it was actually slightly better than October. And then December, I finished the month up over six figures and rounded out 2025 really strong. It's crazy that I hit that low point and then, man, I just really had to lock in. Like I
yeah,
just knew it's do or die.
and you had to run during the slower months when the volatility is at a lower point in the
Yeah,
year.
like a lot of people say like December's really slow. They take a few
Yeah.
weeks off. They don't do a lot. And like, yeah, that was the back half of the year, that was my best month.
So are you generally a scalper?
Yep. Generally I scalp. I will so what I'll say is I'll trim a position. And
Uh-huh.
if the position wants to continue to, grow legs, I'll trail it and I'll, maximize what I can get out of it. A
Mm,
lot of like if I'm trading the MNQ micros, which I think most traders should definitely start on the micros with just one or two just to get a feel for it. But I usually will trade MNQ, the micros, and I'll enter position. And I like to take my usual base hit of around 15 to 20 points where I'll trim, a quarter to half of the position off. And
okay.
then I'll move my stop to break even and I'll continue to ride it from there. And most of the time, with a good entry, that first scale out will happen within the first 2 minutes of being in the trade, if not sooner. A lot of times it's like 30 seconds.
Right, right. Nice, nice. That's a solid plan, man. So like what what does what does progressive overload in the gym look like in trading?
So, in the gym, right, you're just trying to do like one more rep, add a few more pounds to the weights, right? But like when it comes to trading, it was a hard lesson to learn that I can't just like power through it and push through it, right?
Mhm,
Like, you know, I use a lot of external motivation when I'm in the gym to try hard, push myself, right?
mhm,
Whether it's things in my life or, how I feel about myself or whatever to push myself harder and harder and harder. And man, there's been times where I feel like I can't even walk out of the gym. I got to take a half hour rest,
mhm,
right? Where it's like, it's not like that in trading at all.
mm,
Progressive overload in trading is sitting and waiting and
mhm,
stalking your trade. And if it doesn't come, you have to be willing to accept that it didn't come today and I'll be back tomorrow. I
mm,
used to have this really bad habit of thinking I got to trade all my prop accounts in a day. I got to
mhm.
trade them all in a day because, most of these companies, it's like you got to have the days traded in order to be able to take a payout. Right.
Right,
So,
right.
Apex being probably one of the biggest ones for that, right? Because you got to have 8 days between payouts.
Mhm,
Now if I really don't see my payout, I'll take a micro and I'll do what's in the rules. I flip the day. I'll take a micro, just enter exit real quick. Might lose
mhm.
$1, might gain $3.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I didn't see my trade. Or if I'm just feeling off, all right, I flipped the day. So at least I got another day counted for me and I'll come back tomorrow.
Yep, yep. Because you can't force a trade, man. Sometimes no trade
Mm-mm.
is best trade, you
Yep.
know?
That's for sure. That's for sure.
And like what's the version what's the trading version of skipping a leg day?
Oh, the trading version of skipping a leg day is not doing your homework. It's not doing your trading recaps, man. Like you learned so much doing
Yeah.
those trading recaps. And one of the things that I started doing a long time ago was I actually use OBS and a webcam and the mic, and I actually record all my trading, right? So I can
Mm,
watch it back. So I'll just go look at my executions. Oh, okay, I took this long trade at 10:02. So then I'll go back to 10, like 10 o'clock. I'll watch
You
the
watch
market.
it back in high speed?
No. No. Like, if I took the trade, I'll watch it back in slow-mo first. Not slow-mo, but like 1x speed, like
Right,
normal
right, right,
speed. All
right.
right, let me see what was setting up. What did I see? What did I like? And then I look at the chart that's already printed. Like, so I got the full-blown chart like for the whole day. And then
Mhm.
I got the chart as it existed right then and there. So
Mm.
win or lose, I can see like, okay, that's what we had there. Was my
Mhm.
entry really that good? How could my entry have been better? Right.
Right.
And like, how can my entry be better, be better, be better? And there's only, there's only so much you can do there, because at a certain point, like if you try to like strive to get like this perfect entry, like bottom ticket, the trade's not going to hit you. You're not going to get filled.
Right, right.
But if I look at it like, okay, I waited to enter, I entered the trade, and then I look at it like, wow, I was in this trade and it only pulled against me 4 points. Great.
Mm.
And then for the losing trades though, it's like that's where it's like, whoa, what did I see? Why did I take that trade? Like, what was I thinking? And then you see like when I made mistakes,
Mm.
if I move my stop or if I re-enter the trade too quickly, I really try to like break that down.
And do you use any particular trading software with your trading, or do you go off of like the default platforms?
I just go off of the default platforms. I tried using I think it was Trader Sync.
Huh?
I bought a year with them. It's a good platform, but I kept having connectivity issues, like it wouldn't sync right with Thinkorswim.
Mhm.
Then, man, like I had it tell me one day that I lost like $13,000 out of my account, and I was like, dude, I've never lost $13,000 on a day. Like on it was not even on a day; it was on a single trade. I was like, there's something jacked up. There's something bugging with your software.
Man.
Contacted them, they couldn't figure it out. They were like, well, manually delete that trade, and I'm like, well, where did this trade even come from?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just found that like I don't need to know like every exact statistic of like, oh, my RR is, 1.7, or like
Right, right.
my average winner is, $220 or something like that. Like, I don't really need to know that, because it just comes down to improving my execution and slowly scaling up the size on the right setups.
And like, I wanted to take a second to talk a little bit more about, how fitness versus trading psychology, because how does the ego show up differently in fitness versus trading?
Well, I think either way, this is a great question, dude, because I love talking about and like thinking about my own ego. One of my
Mhm.
favorite books now is Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. Have you read it?
No, I haven't heard of that one. Let me
Dude, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. It's a very easy read. I actually got it right right up there on my shelf above my computer.
okay.
It's a very easy read. It's a great book. Touches on stoicism and some of the
Got it.
greats like Marcus Aurelius.
Just added that
And
to my library.
yeah, dude, it's great. So ego shows up in the gym, I think, a lot of ways. And I think in a lot of ways, ego in the gym can be a good thing, right? It can propel you to push yourself harder, to
Mm.
like, I can do this. Like, he just benched 400. I can bench 3. Like, he just squatted 500, even if you're first starting out. Well, shoot, if he can squat 500, he can do this. I can get there too, right? And you can chase it. And I
Mhm.
think I think that that can be helpful in trading too. Like, okay, if you see somebody like me who's an average Joe who told you he had a 6-figure month in December, it's like, "Dude, I've only been trading, going on 5 years. Like, that's not that long to get to, a great point, right? So like, but you just have to be careful, because where ego can present itself negatively in the gym is you try to overlift and do too much and you hurt yourself. That's the same thing in trading. You try to do too much too fast, you put on too big of size, and then the loss will wreck you. And that
Mm.
same setback you suffer in the market is no different than having an injury in the gym. Now you can't go to the gym and work out, which is something you love. You just lose half your account on a single trade, or you lose 3/4 or more of your account on a single trade. How are you going to trade now? Now you got to work. You got to go get a second job. You got to do something to fund that account again. That's going to be a painful process.
And that really leads me to the next thing that I was going to ask you, because is revenge trading the same as ego lifting?
Yes, I think in a way it really is.
Mhm.
That's a great correlation there, because when you revenge trade, you're saying, "No, I'm right. I can do this.
Right.
I'm right. The market's wrong. Whatever just happened that wasn't supposed to happen.
Mhm.
I'm right."
And like, so, have you ever over leveraged the way someone adds too much weight to the bar?
For sure. For
Right.
sure. And it's
We
and
all
it's
do it.
and it's led to disastrous results, dude. I've blown, you know, like I've always tried to be really transparent.
Yeah.
And I tell people that when I started trading prop, I didn't get my first payout from Apex until I had gone through I was on my 25th funded account, dude. So I got my first payout of 2K and I was just like, oh damn, I did it. I got this payout, right? Because I was trying to trade minis too. I was dumb. I was dumb trying to trade 2, 3 minis at a time. It was dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I got this payout, and then I was like, on the computer, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm still red. Like, you know what I mean? So then I was like, ah, dang it, dude. Like, I got to do this again. I got to get another payout, get me back to the break even side of the book, because
Yeah.
it was crazy. I was making money on options, I was losing money on prop, and I was just like, and that was kind of getting my ego and frustration and that, kind of
Right.
revenge trade tilt going too. But once I really started buckling down, it was, it was a game changer for sure. Trading
Man.
prop or the funding companies can really be a game changer. How you can leverage a
Yeah.
small amount of money to a big reward.
I remember my first payout was a really big payout, and that jacked me up because
Hell yeah.
I had got it from a Forex firm, and I ended up getting a 6K payout because
Hell yeah.
they had it to where you could pass within 48, and I found a runner and pass, and then I found 2 more runners after that and ran it up 6K, and I was like, oh
Hell
man,
yeah.
I could do this all the time.
Hell yeah.
So
Yep.
and then you go back in and then you blow the account, and then you're like,
Yep.
like, what's going on? Then you have to figure out where the juice is. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep. Dude, that's exactly how it was for me, man. Like I was rocking the first quarter of last year.
yeah,
Second quarter, April, May, June.
yeah,
It started slowing down. I didn't course correct. And then July, August, September was rough, dude. Rough,
man,
rough, rough. So I
man.
get it.
Them summer months, man.
Mm-hmm.
When folks take them vacations, try to step away for a little bit, spend a little bit more time with the family,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just I try to make myself more aware of those type of things, But like, man, I wanted to take a second to chop it up about Coast to Coast, the Trader
yeah.
podcast, man.
Yes.
So because like I said, man, I love what you guys are doing over there. What made
Thank you.
and Robbie start the Coast to Coast Traders, man?
Well, we've been friends for a while. Like I would have to say he's my best trading friend. We
Yeah.
met in the House of Stacks. We just started chatting, and then we just like started talking about just doing something like what we've seen other people do, and it's kind of still evolving, right? Like I think at first we were like, let's talk about trading, right? Let's talk about setups. Let's talk about this trade, that trade, and it was just like, Joe, nobody wants to hear about your trades, But what people do want to hear about is what's going on in the industry, And
Yeah.
I think that if there really were more traders who could be genuine, the way that Jack Swagger does the Market Wizards book, it's almost kind of
Yeah.
like it would be cool to like do like almost like MTV Cribs or something with like
Yeah.
real traders or like stuff like that, because I think people
Right.
really like to see what's the lifestyle of a trader.
Yeah.
But I think it's also too because I think people think that maybe that traders are living these big, extravagant or different lives, and like, yo, to be honest, like I'm an average dude. I don't want a Lambo. I like driving my Dodge Ram pickup truck. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like, and I've got 2 daughters, and I'm like, okay, I made money. College is paid.
Yeah.
Next semester money's in the bank. We're ready to go. Those are my priorities.
Right. And so what are the most common trader concerns that you guys discuss weekly?
A lot of what we've been talking about weekly is like what's going on in the industry and like these like fake gurus,
Mhm.
people who are, just like forging their broker statements.
Mhm.
They're trying to claim big payouts.
Mhm.
They're trying to claim that they're running up big balances, and meanwhile they're just like showing you fake screenshots. So we've been talking about that. And then really just like changes to the industry as a whole, like what prop companies are changing,
Mm.
updates that are being made to platforms or programs, and kind of really where the best program is and where you can find it, and even just the best discount codes so people are getting a the best deal on it. And we also did this episode about money saving, which I don't really like. I was surprised that it didn't get more legs and more views than it did. So I think we had a lot of good ideas for like how people can save money because look, like it's great to make money in trading and everything or, having a good job that pays you well, but it's not all just about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep.
Right. Right. And like, are you guys doing it? You're doing it weekly or monthly? You're doing it weekly, right?
Yep.
Because what? So does the market publicly every week make you sharper or add pressure? Does talking about the market publicly every week make you sharper or?
Well, yeah, this is a good question. I think it makes me sharper. A few weeks. So if I rewind the hands of time, about 2 years ago,
Right.
Maple, the owner and runner of the House of Stacks community, him and I had a conversation about me going off and doing my own room, right? Because I was at that point I had been trading prop for a year. I was doing well with it. I'd obviously gone through those 25 accounts, but then I was getting consistent payouts. I was doing well, and then I was doing well with options, and I was also providing, we were doing like review sessions a couple times a week. I was sometimes hosting live trading in the morning if he was out. So him and I had this conversation, like, I had kind of his blessing, like he wasn't going to take any offense to me going off and start my own room. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Like I was kind of focused on let me continue to try to help traders how I can.
Mhm.
And then, I'm going to continue to just trade like traders trade, let me trade and I'll help people I can, on the side or after hours or what have you. But every time I would run the room, I'd run the Discord when he was out and I'd be breaking down price action. I was always getting a lot of positive feedback and comments, and I'd have traders that was just like, dude, I don't know what it is, but every time you're on the mic, I'm green. Like, and they were just like, you're so calm, you're so collected. Like, dude, it's like you don't even sweat it. And I was just thinking, man, sometimes I'm over here sweating though. So, so like we started doing that. And then I was just like, when I had that run through the fall and I was just like, okay, I was doing a really deep dive into like the end of 2025 and improving in 2026. And so I decided, hey, I'm gonna get on YouTube live every day. And I don't care if I got one viewer, I'm gonna trade live. I'm gonna show my executions. I'm gonna trade live. And I think that being able to articulate what I'm seeing in the market, why I'm taking a trade and taking those trades is only going to propel me to more success, right? So I started doing that. That's been going really well. A lot of positive feedback, and I've just been getting people, squawking in my ear. I'm not going to name names, but just like, open your own room, do your own room, do your own room, do your room. And that's been going on for a long time. Like I said, Maple and I talked about it 2 years ago. In the last 6 months, especially after the 6-figure month, people, because I was like really transparent. If you go to my X page, it's like, September was this exactly, October, like September was like red, whatever it was, $1,200 or something. October was this, November was this, December was over 100K, right? It's just like boom, boom, boom. So everyone's like, open your room, do your thing, like, teach people how to trade. Like you've been doing really well. So finally I was like, all right, like let's do it. So I started my own community. I got my own room. It's called Vulcan Trading. So Vulcan after the Roman god of fire and forge. So where he is the one who built the weapons for the other gods, right? The idea, the concept is at Vulcan, we're building unbreakable strategies focused on edge and discipline, right? And putting those two together. So I firmly believe that, continuing to do that and having that time in the market and talking about it live continues to, help me become a better trader.
So like, what's something happening in the markets right now that traders are misreading that you see on a regular?
I think they're misreading the context overall of the market where you have a lot of names that are in consolidation. If you look at the NVIDIA chart, multiple months in a sideways channel, right? If you look at, I think ES, right, or SPY, it's kind of in a channel, right? Like a lot of the names are going sideways and consolidating. Towards the end of last year, I was starting to say, hey guys, we should be prepared for more consolidation because we've had a massive run up in the first year of this presidential term, right? So we need to be on the lookout for, are we going to consolidate and then move higher or consolidate and round over? And I think that's the number one thing, is that because people are not zooming out and looking at the big picture, the daily, the weekly, the monthly, they're not understanding, hey, most of the names are sitting in a form of consolidation, or drift, right? And then a lot of big names, if you look at something like Microsoft's way down at like the 200 weekly, that's and overall, the market really hasn't moved all that much. So when you have these big names pulling back, I think people are losing sight of well, what are the like if you watch the top 10 of the S&P 500, what are the other 490 doing?
And with all the educational tools changing and stuff, and you guys keep up with a lot of what the trends are with different tools, different prop firms and such. So like, do you feel like retail traders are evolving, or are they repeating the same mistakes?
I think most retail traders are probably repeating the same mistakes. So there's a great statistic here that supports this claim. When a cardiologist, right, or a cardiovascular surgeon meets with a patient and he tells that patient, if you don't change your life, if you don't change your diet and start exercising and stop smoking, those are the 3 top factors for cardiovascular disease. If you don't change your life, you're going to die, right? What percentage of people do you think actually, I'm going to quiz you as the interviewer. What percentage do you think respond to that and make a change?
Probably 20%, if that much.
Yeah, you're pretty close. It's about 14%.
Wow.
So with that being said, if that's a doctor, a surgeon, somebody who's been to school, somebody who you can trust, has a lot of knowledge, and people still don't respond, and that's their life we're talking about, right? That's them staying above ground, and they can't respond to that. Most traders are probably not going to do what they have to do and do what needs to be done as a reflection of themselves in order to improve in the market, right? Because trading the market shows you who you really are, right? If you are prone to impatience, you're not going to wait for ideal entries. If you're prone to tilt, you're going to oversize after a loss. You're going to chase entries. You're going to, revenge trade. You're going to do all those things, right? It shows you who you are.
So I wanted to talk about the average Joe philosophy.
Okay.
Because like you said, you just like to drive your Dodge. You know what I'm saying? You're not worried about a Lambo. So what does being average mean in a space full of Lambo and flex culture?
I think average means staying grounded, right? Staying humble, understanding that, he giveth and he can take it away real quick, right?
For real.
Not taking anything for granted, understanding that our time on this earth is, relatively speaking, very short, and that we are all in this together. And so we can help each other out, or we can be at each other's throats. And either way, we're going to end up in the ground, right? So we can have a meaningful experience here, or we can have a terrible one. And I think just being out here, flexing all this nice stuff. Like, I know my name's flexing, but that's for the biceps. You know what I'm saying? But just showing off all this crap. It's just like, okay, and for what, right? Like, versus I give my time to people, and help people try to, trade and improve. And I've got people that I work with, which is, it's crazy to see them making money. Like, that's the thing that elates me. And like, I'm way more excited. Like, I don't know if you caught it, man, but you're talking about your $6,000 payout. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, I'm like hyped. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, it's a great, wonderful feeling to like hear about you making money. So like, I'm not going to get that feeling by going to buy something flashy. I just know I'm not. Right. But seeing somebody else prosper and be successful, that's what it's all about.
Real. And like, do you feel like social media is creating delusional traders?
Oh, 100%, dude. I thought for sure. So when I got into the meme stock thing, right? I remember walking through my job, right? Talking to another guy, and he was like, "So when do you think you're gonna quit trading?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Maybe like not quit trading. Sorry, quit working." I was like, "I don't know, man. Maybe like a year. Maybe like a year. Maybe like 6 months. Like this is going good, right?" And he was like, "Oh man, it'll suck to lose you, right?" And now I'm at this point where I'm like, "Well, why would I quit working? Like I got a good job that pays well and it's consistent. That consistent income removes all pressure for me to perform in the market. So now I can just trade freely. I don't have to try to force a trade. If I get no trades, no setups, on like options or something for 2-3 days, fine. I didn't see anything I liked, fine." So I think there's a delusion there that like, and I think some people are selling that delusion by saying, hey, look at me. I drive a Lambo. 3 years ago, I was nothing, or a year ago, I was nothing. Now I made $1 million last month. And it's like, okay, the 1% of the 1% of the 1% here. Like, and there's a certain amount of luck involved that most traders don't want to admit was involved.
For real.
So they're selling a delusion.
And behind the scene, they're sweating bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't tell you about those ups and downs.
Exactly.
I think that's why transparency is important. And like,
Absolutely.
I wanted to know, how do you personally avoid FOMO?
How do I avoid FOMO? Well, I try to always remember that there's going to be like an overabundance of setups, right? Like the market is filled with opportunities. And if I can remember to wait for my setups, I don't always, and I'm not always successful at this. I succumb to taking poor setups sometimes too. But if I can wait for ideal setups and ideal trades, I am going to come out on top. Like I have proven that to myself over and over and over again, that like the money is actually made in the waiting. Wait, stalk, strike.
So like, going to the gym may be a process of getting the dopamine,
Yeah.
and we get dopamine from trading.
Yes.
What separates the disciplined trader from the dopamine trader?
So a disciplined trader is going to, be more stoic, is going to be more calm and collected. There's been times where, shoot, you can go back and watch Thursday's live stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know it. I'm just like, okay, like I'm in the Tesla puts. I'm scaling out $100 a con, $200 a con, $400 a con down to one runner. Okay, I stopped out on the runner for 250, whatever. It's like I'm talking to you now. And there's other times where it's okay, MNQ long. All right, first target was hit at 15 points, stop to break even. Okay, they're gonna hit my stop. All right, I'm like if I took the trade, like let's say I take a new trade, I didn't get any profit out of it. Okay, looks like they're gonna take my stop. And then I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, they didn't take it. Okay, maybe there's still a chance here. It's just trying to be as calm as possible. And that's the thing. Obviously, I must succeed at it most of the time because that's the thing that a lot of other traders have called out about me. Is like you're pretty calm, you're pretty collected. Doesn't matter if you win or lose it. And that's what I try to do.
And like, I know that, like you say, you work a job, it keeps you calm, helps to keep you calm because there's no pressure to maintain, that consistency in the market, or push you to force a trade, even when there's nothing there. But like, being that you're a working guy, got a family, I assume,
Yes.
but walk me through your daily routine. Like, is it gym first, charts first?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So I recently got this new job. I got a promotion at work, which was cool because it
Nice.
really resulted
Congrats.
in thank you. A lot less stress, a little less responsibility, um, significantly more pay, right? Which is great. And then, but the shift is terrible. It's a midnight start time. I'm on the East Coast, so midnight Eastern, 4 days a week. So I'm kind of juggling that. So my gym routine is a little bit out of whack, and I'm really just like, I'll go to the gym anytime. Like, Thursday I was there in the afternoon. Friday I was there at 5 in the morning. And shout out to my youngest daughter. She's gonna be 16. She was there with me at 5 in the morning.
Wow. Nice.
Which is great. I was really pumped that she was there. So like let's just take Friday, for example. I worked out, I came home, I had breakfast. I always eat a lot of eggs. I'm a big eggs guy. Sat down, started charting, about 8:30, stayed on the charts and live on voice until probably about like noontime, and then wrapped it up, started doing some trade reviews, did some stuff around the house, and that's a typical day is charts at 8:30 in the morning, start the stream up, start reviewing price action levels, get things ready for the day. And then, I squeeze in my workouts where I can. And, sometimes, I go to the gym, I'm trying to go to the gym about 4 days a week. So, sometimes it might be, all right, I went 2 days in a row, I went 3 days in a row, and then I can't go for 2 or 3 days. And it's like, I'll be fine. I stay active. I try to stay on my feet. If I'm at work, I'm getting a lot of steps in, or I try to. So, just try to do what I can because I'm juggling a lot, and I understand that I'm juggling a lot, and I'm really trying to be more patient with myself and, give myself some grace, right? Like I don't have to go to the gym and hit the most perfect workout every single day. Just like I don't have to hit an absolute perfect trade, right? Like
Mm.
good enough is good enough. And if I wait for my setup, much like I wait for a good time to go to the gym, it's gonna have a good end result.
Do you feel like you trade differently when you don't train?
I think so. I think a little bit, just a little bit. But I think a lot of it really is going to depend on my personal life.
Right. Right.
Am I stressed about work? Am I not stressed about work? Am I stressed about money? Am I not stressed about money? You know, uh, like for like I think I was definitely trading a little bit different. September and then October, right? Like September, I was like, oh my god, I was so close to being green, and then October, I was like, okay, I was green. So that I went into November with some solid momentum, carried through. Then come December, I was calm, cool, collected. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah. And do you feel like traders should serious traders train their body too?
Yes, I think and the Stoics talk about this from 2,000 years ago, that you can't have a healthy body without a healthy mind, and you can't have a healthy mind without a healthy body, right? And
Mm.
so, I think it's really important to focus on both aspects, right? Like, and even if as far as working on your mind, like journaling, writing it out, like not typing, like actually writing it with pen and paper or pencil and paper makes a huge difference. But
Mm.
working out and getting and at least being look, you don't have to be supermodel, bodybuilding stage ready, to be healthy, right? And
Mhm.
everybody's gonna, feel healthy at a different look, and that's fine, right? Like, dude, like beauty and everything is only skin deep, anyways, right?
Mhm.
We're all imperfect. I've got my physical flaws, just like the next person does, but it's important to take care of your body.
What habits outside of the charts make you better on the charts?
What habits outside of the charts? Obviously, besides going to the gym, obviously journaling is one. I do spend time journaling. Believe it or not, I think there's actually for me at least, the cold shower thing. So
Mm.
like, I've never set up a cold plunge, but at the end of my shower when I'm done, I'll turn it to cold for like as long as I can stand it. And I think that like it's weird as it is. I'm sure probably somebody else would be able to better articulate the science behind it. But I think because it's like a painful shock,
Mhm.
it helps me to like understand that like, all right, I can or I'm this hurts, this is uncomfortable, but I'm overcoming this just like I'm going to overcome a loss. I think visualization is important.
Mm.
Understanding what your good setups look like
Mhm.
and visualizing the losses,
Mm.
understanding I'm going to take this trade. It fits my criteria. It might be a loss, and that's okay because it's only one trade across the tens of thousands I will take in my trading career. It's okay. I'm not going to win them all.
You ever try cryotherapy?
I have tried cryotherapy. Actually, it's been a number of years since I've done it, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah. What
I
do you
have a
think?
partner that owns a cryotherapy business up in Dallas, and
Nice.
yeah, man, it's pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
like giving your body that shock,
Hmm.
and I know it makes a hell of a difference when you're training regularly,
Yes.
because it gives that shock to the muscles and helps them to recalibrate.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I
Yeah,
feel like it definitely that's the shock I'm getting too, like like in the shower, because I'm going from like hot water to like that cold water and then turning it off. I'm not going back to hot. So like
right,
when I get
right.
out of the shower, I'm like, oh man, like that was cold.
So like most traders say they want it,
Hmm.
but don't live like they want it. You
Yes.
agree?
Yes, I think so. I think that it's you could use that same logic to being in the gym. Most
Mhm.
people say they want to be fit, but they don't really want it.
Mm.
Most people, everybody can talk a big game. Talking is the easiest part of the game. Doesn't matter what we're referring to. I'm going to be the next best race car driver. I'm going to be the next best, quarterback in the NFL.
Mm.
Okay. But like, what are you doing to work towards that goal, right? Like, same thing when you're making trading mistakes or you do something that's wrong. Look, that's fine that you identified the trading mistake. What are you doing about it?
Mm.
Because talking about your mistake is not going to correct it in the future.
Do you feel like you could be out of shape and truly disciplined with trading?
I think so. I think so because, some people, they just don't really care what they look like, and some people just have a knack for trading. Um, I don't think they're I don't think they're like directly linked, like you have to do one in order to do the other.
Mm,
And I also think you could be in phenomenal shape and be a terrible trader.
right, right.
So
And like, do you think comfort is killing modern traders?
comfort like with like eating and not lifting and just being a lazy lifestyle, or what kind of comfort?
I think it's comfort with habits because I think that me myself can struggle with being too comfortable,
Yeah.
thinking you get comfortable with your strategy and you feel like, okay, well, I know all it is to know about this strategy. There's nothing won't change, but the market can change tomorrow. The market can
Hmm.
change next week. So at any time you have to always be willing to change and adapt to the
Yeah.
market conditions.
Yes. Yeah, I think definitely then, yeah, I could see how comfort can probably really, really hurt some people, right? I mean, and we've probably all heard some stories about this, right? Where you have a trader who's really successful, his edge, is still presenting itself, but it's not playing out the same way.
Hmm.
And that trader doesn't adjust their size, doesn't adjust their risk, and then slowly, you know, it's just in this downturn until they crash and burn and then they're out because they didn't make any adjustments, right? Because they were
Mm,
comfortable doing what they were doing and didn't want to change. And,
real.
the market always changes. The market is always evolving and doing something different. And why? Because, the world is changing. People change, right? You have every day is a unique situation full of unique participants that may or may not have been there before.
And so to close out, man, I
Yeah.
mean, man, this has been a great conversation, man. But
Yes.
if you
Thank you
could,
for having me.
man, if you could go back to year one Joe, what would you tell him?
Okay. Ooh, this is a good question, which I have spent a good amount of time on. So I think I have a good answer. So the first thing I would say is slow down, learn and think about what you're doing and try to understand sound risk reward principles. If you feel excited about the trade that you're in, trim profit. If you feel fearful about the trade that you're in, trim your size, right? Because there's something there that is not letting you just be comfortable as the trade is, right? And like what I mean to expand on that just a little bit is that if you're really afraid you're going to get stopped out and you're worried about what that loss will be, you probably have too much size on. And if you're feeling euphoric about the win that you have and you still know you're a good distance from where your final target is, like you probably weren't thinking about, wow, this trade's going to be up and I'm going to feel good about the number I'm up on the way there. Trim some off, lock some in, reduce your overall risk on the trade, and and those wins will slowly stack up and you can expand on that in time. I think it's really important to not dig yourself a hole. If you dig yourself into a hole and you already don't come from a background of overabundance, now that you have that hole, it will be very difficult for you to psychologically overcome. And that is all you'll be thinking about every day that you approach the charts. And
Mm,
you should approach the charts as a student. And you should be thinking, I want to learn how price action works. I want to learn how the market breathes, how she moves, where she pauses and doesn't, right? And it's just an eloquent dance every day. So
mm,
take your time. In short, take your time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And if you take your time now, you will reap the rewards in a few years. There is not going to be one big trade, one big winner that's going to set you up for life. It's not going to happen.
and like, if trading disappeared tomorrow, who is Joe without the charts?
Man, I'm probably just doing what I'm doing now. I'm working I work in grocery supply chain. I have a leadership role there, which I really enjoy. I've been extremely fortunate to have mentored a lot of people and watched them grow their careers into bigger and bigger leadership roles. So I would keep doing that. But most importantly, I'm a father and a husband, and I'm gonna take care of my wife and my two daughters.
Nice, nice. And what is next for the evolution of Flex and Joe?
Right now, man, it's going to be all about the room, right? I'm going to have to hit you with an invite for sure, get you in there.
Square
I think it'd be
business.
great to have you. I think it's really just about growing that, right? Just about,
Hmm.
improving my execution, being able to take trades live, show people the execution, show them what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And if I can continue to articulate the why and the how behind the trades that I take, then they're going to be more sound trades. And, I believe that it's going to increase, my overall reward.
And where can people tap into Coast to Coast Traders and connect with you?
Yeah, so you can follow myself at Flexing Joe on X, and then we have Robbie, so at Robbie Robski on X, right? If you find me, because you might be like, how do I spell Robbie? And we could probably put the links for this, right? And
I'll
I'll
put
give
them
you
in
the
there.
links.
Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously you can check me out at Vulcan Trading. So that would be great. It'd be great to have you. Great to show you what it's all about. But if you ever have any questions or need anything, guys, just hit me up on X, send me a DM, and my mailbox is always open. My door is always open, and I'm down to help as many people as I can.
Nice. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the NOFOMO podcast, where we discuss keeping it cool and adapting to today's ever-changing markets. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure you don't miss out on the future drops. We got plenty more insight coming your way. And until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, and remember, the best mindset to keep is no FOMO, man.
Thanks, man.